Imagine yourself high above the sands of ancient Egypt, in a world lit only by fire and starlight. This is the story of Nebhathar, the pharaoh's most trusted seer of the heavens. His life was the sky, his language the movement of stars. For generations, his ancestors had read the celestial tapestry, a grand, unchanging map that dictated the rhythm of life along the Nile. The flooding of the river, the planting of crops, the rise and fall of dynasties, all were written in the stars. But one night, something was wrong. Terribly wrong. As Nebhathar peered through his simple sighting instrument, a hollow reed aligned with a plumb line, his breath caught in his throat. Sirius, the great star of the goddess Sopdet, whose appearance heralded the life-giving inundation of the Nile, was not where it should be. It was adrift, subtly but undeniably off its ancient course. He frantically checked his charts, papyrus scrolls filled with centuries of meticulous observation. The data was clear. The stars were not just moving, they were straying. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced his heart. He scanned the heavens, his eyes darting from one familiar constellation to another. Orion, the celestial shepherd, seemed to limp across the sky. The celestial bark of Ra, the sun god's nightly vessel, appeared to be veering toward the abyss of Duat, the underworld. The patterns, the sacred geometry that had been the bedrock of Egyptian civilization for millennia, were unraveling. This wasn't a simple anomaly. It wasn't a miscalculation. To Nebhathar, it was a terrifying omen, a divine message written in flickering starlight. The cosmic order, the very principle of truth, balance, and justice was being disturbed. And if that was broken in the heavens, chaos would surely be unleashed upon the earth. He stumbled down from his rooftop observatory, his mind racing. The pharaoh, a young and ambitious ruler named Akhenaten, was a man of radical ideas. He had recently declared that there was only one god, Theaden, the physical disk of the sun. He had dismissed the old pantheon, the familiar gods and goddesses that had protected Egypt for ages. Was this their response? Was this the fury of the abandoned gods, tearing the sky apart in their anger? The next morning, Nebhathar sought an audience with the pharaoh. He found him in the grand temple of Aten, a vast, open-air court designed to let the sun's rays bless the worshippers directly. Akhenaten, tall and slender, with his distinctive elongated features, listened with an unnerving calm as Nebhathar, his voice trembling, described the celestial chaos. "The stars are abandoning us, Divine One," he pleaded. "The sacred map is being erased. This is a warning. The Nile will not answer the call of a broken sky. Without the inundation, famine will grip our land. The two kingdoms will crumble into dust." Akhenaten smiled, a serene, almost detached expression on his face. He gestured towards the brilliant morning sun. "You speak of the old ways, Nebhathar. You speak of the scattered lights of the night, the lesser gods of darkness. I speak of the one true light, Theaden. My father, Theaden, is the source of all life. His journey across the sky is the only one that matters. The stars are but fleeting sparks in his magnificent presence. They have no power." Desperate, Nebhathar tried again. "But the cycles, Your Majesty. The cycles have been true for 1,000 years. The star Sopdet and the flood are one and the same. If the heavens are in disarray, the earth will follow." The pharaoh's patience wore thin. "Your eyes are clouded by superstition," he declared, his voice echoing in the vast court. "You cling to the shadows when the light is here before you. Theaden protects us. His warmth is all we need. There will be no famine. The Nile will obey the one true God." He dismissed Nebhathar with a wave of his hand, turning his face back toward the sun, lost in his divine communion. Heartbroken and terrified, Nebhathar returned to his work, but now with a new, frantic purpose. He wasn't just observing anymore, he was searching for an answer, a way to convince the pharaoh before it was too late. Night after night, he documented the accelerating decay of the constellations. The sky became a canvas of dread. He saw new, horrifying shapes emerge: a celestial serpent coiling around the moon, a scorpion where the scales of judgment once balanced. He consulted the oldest texts in the temple libraries, scrolls that spoke of the first time, the Zepi Tepi, when gods walked among mortals. The texts warned of a time when the sky would fall, a cosmic cataclysm that would precede an age of darkness. The descriptions were chillingly similar to what he was witnessing. It wasn't just a warning anymore, it was a prophecy unfolding in real time. Meanwhile, on the ground, the first signs of trouble began to appear. The season of Akhet, the inundation, arrived. All of Egypt held its breath, waiting for the gentle, muddy waters of the Nile to rise and replenish the parched farmlands. But the days turned into weeks, and the river remained stubbornly low. A trickle, where a torrent should have been. The canals remained dry. The soil, usually black and fertile, began to crack under the relentless sun. A murmur of fear spread through the land. The farmers, who knew the river's rhythm better than any priest, looked to the sky and saw the same wrongness that haunted Nebhather. They whispered the names of the old gods, praying to Hapi, the god of the flood, to Osiris, the god of rebirth. But their prayers seemed to fall on deaf ears. Nebhather made one last, desperate attempt. He created a star chart, a celestial map of doom, showing the heavens as they were, and as they should be. He marked the faltering path of Sirius, the dying light of the old constellations, and the terrifying new forms that writhed in the darkness. He brought it before the royal court, interrupting a lavish festival in honor of the Eden. "Behold, your majesty," he cried out, unrolling the papyrus. "The sky weeps, and the Nile refuses to rise. Your people starve while you praise a silent sun. This is not divine order, this is the dawn of chaos. We must appease the gods we have forsaken." This time, Akhenaten did not smile. His face hardened into a mask of fury. To challenge his god was to challenge him. It was heresy. "Seize this man," he commanded his guards. "His mind is poisoned by shadows and fear. He spreads lies to undermine the divine light of the Eden. He will see the sun no more." Nebhather was dragged away, not to a prison, but to a forgotten tomb, sealed alive in the darkness he had so feared. As the stone slid into place, plunging him into utter blackness, his last thought was not of himself, but of Egypt. He had read the warning in the stars, but the man who claimed to be a god was blind. Outside the tomb, the world continued to unravel. The famine tightened its grip. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, had fallen silent. The granaries emptied, and the people grew weak. Akhenaten's glorious new city, Marna, built for the Eden, became a place of starvation and despair. The empire's borders, once secure, were breached by opportunistic enemies. The golden age was not fading, it was shattering. High above the dying land, the stars continued their strange, horrifying dance. They were no longer a map or a guide, but a tombstone for a civilization that had forgotten a crucial lesson, that even the most powerful ruler is small beneath the vast, mysterious, and unforgiving expanse of the cosmos. The stars had sent a warning, and it had been ignored. The darkness had come. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you love stories that blend history, mystery, and the wonders of the cosmos, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. What do you think happened to Nebhather's prophecy? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep looking up.